And welcome. David Levin here, Raising Your Game today. This is Tuesday, so we're talking about the mental game of sports and competition. Fridays are for the rest of our lives. This week, I want to talk about Sam Darnold, quarterback for the Vikings, having an amazing season, maybe the biggest story in football this year. So he's 27 years old in his seventh season in the NFL, started in 2018 with the Jets for 3 seasons, then went to the Panthers for 2, North Carolina, then to San Francisco for 1 as a backup. And that was the story on him last year. Hadn't caught fire anywhere, looking at basically a permanent backup position for the rest of his career, which, is not the end of the world. I mean, probably still a pretty good gig, all things considered, but also not nearly what anyone hoped for when he was drafted out of college. So then he goes to the Vikings. 1-year deal. He was expected to compete with their new rookie quarterback for the position. But he got injured in the preseason, so Darnold was named the starting quarterback, and the season was off and running. And to be perfectly honest, I was not excited about it. Now, I don't know that much in the first place. I'm not a high-knowledge fan, to say the least, but I really liked Kirk Cousins, the previous quarterback, mostly because I saw him on that Netflix documentary. But he was a great quarterback, one of the best. Went to Atlanta this year for a huge contract, something like $130 million guaranteed. That was a bummer for us, in my opinion. This guy, never heard of him, only there because the new kid got hurt. Did not expect much of anything this year. But all of a sudden, it was going great. And it's been going great pretty much all season long. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the league. The Vikings are in the playoffs. They're setting all kinds of team records. Everyone's talking about him. He's likely to get a major contract after this year. It's just the most amazing story. And the lesson in all this, at least the first lesson, is you have to stay focused on the process rather than the outcome, because you just never know. You never know how things are going to work out. It can seem like everything is going to be great and amazing. You can't lose. It can seem like the opposite, that things are pretty much over for you. He had to be thinking that about his career the last couple of years. Certainly everyone else was thinking that about him. But you never know. It's never as great as it seems. It's never as bad as it seems. So you just keep going. You keep pushing, keep doing the work, getting better, staying focused. All of a sudden, you're an overnight success. Or you're not. Kirk Cousins, my guy, at the top of his game, snags this giant contract, fresh start in Atlanta, but then sort of falls apart. Ends up getting benched this last week. $130 million doesn't last a full season. You just never know. Bottom line, so much of every kind of success and failure is out of our control. Even with all the talent and hard work, it's ultimately a lot of timing and luck. So all you can do is focus on the process of what you need to do to be your best and work to your own standards for what you're proud of. In other words, you have to define success for yourself that is separate from the outcome. Sam Darnold could very easily be exactly where people expected him to be right now, sitting on the bench, being a backup quarterback somewhere. But the Vikings saw something they thought was a good fit, they hoped was a good fit. His relationship with the coach, other players, the system they run, everything clicked. But any part of that could easily have not happened too, just very easily, right? Would he feel less sure of his abilities and what he could offer if that had happened? My sense is no. It would just be one of those things where it didn't happen like he thought it would. Kirk Cousins, same thing. In fact, I heard that as soon as he got benched, he was all in with the new situation. He was like, I'm excited to be the best backup I can be. Now, I'm sure he's disappointed, just like Sam is elated, but I would also bet that neither one of them is feeling substantially different about themselves as an athlete or a person because of it. They're focused on the job, no matter what it is or where it leads. So that's the main lesson. You can't focus on outcomes. You have to focus only on process and doing your best. The second lesson, though, is that you also need to train your mental game. Here's why. This whole piece so far is a great lesson, right? Focus on process, not on outcomes. But how do you do that? How do you actually do that? When you're Sam Darnold and your career seems to be tanking, how do you block out all those negative thoughts and fears so you can stay focused and positive and keep doing the work that ultimately leads you to having such a great success? Because you know that had to be super hard, right? That's the biggest problem every athlete I work with has. For one reason or another, they get upset, they get worried, they get stuck in their head, their game falls apart. Imagine the mental and emotional pressure on these guys. So again, how do you block that out and stay focused on the process? The answer is you learn the mental skills to do it. You practice, you train, you work on it just like any other skill. That, of course, is what Raise Your Inner Game is about. The book, the Sports Academy training, the executive coaching all show you how to develop the specific skills to do that. Check out raiseyourinnergame.com. To learn more about those, raiseyourinnergame.com. But the big lesson from Sam Darnold this week is, again, focus on process, not outcomes. And you hear the same focus from their whole team. I think that's kind of interesting. Their mindset, and they all talk about it. One game at a time, process, not outcomes. It's super powerful, and it helps you perform at your highest level, no matter what's going on around you. All right, I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Go Vikes. Otherwise, keep up the good work. I'll see you next time.